Hi guys, this is Lisa, an occupational therapist specialized in empowerment therapy, master degree in autism spectrum disorder. I found this video by special books by special kids about a girl with autism. Very interesting, and I would like to watch it with you and share it with you. So let's watch it together.
What is it like to be extremely intelligent, autistic, and have a physical disability?
I mean, having all of those things is really just a blessing to me because I love it. I want myself to be different.
What is the best thing about being you?
Everything. I really like everything about myself. I don't have necessarily a best thing about myself. I do have autism. Now here's a fun fact about autism, just know that boys tend to they tend to express their autism more frequently, whereas girls, they try to mask it.
That's very cute and very true. So it's true that in autism, we tend to see more kids, more boys with autism than girls. And it's true that I think because of the way how girls can pretend or mask the social rules, no, or accommodate themselves in the society, you'd see less girls diagnosed with autism, at least at her age. But she's so cute. She expressed herself so well at 80 years old, no, and embracing everything about herself. That's very cute. Let's continue.
What does masking mean?
It just means pretending not to have autism to try to fit in with the other people.
Yeah, she's always been like a 38-year-old educated grown up in a little child's body.
This is makes me smile because we have a lot of parents, when we have both boys or girls with autism and they're high functional with high IQ. You have parents expressing themselves and you feel like you're talking to a kid, not of 7-8 years old. You're talking actually to a grown-up, So it's a little bit like even in therapy, in occupational therapy, when you're preparing your therapy sessions, you have to be like, you're challenged all the time because you know that the kid of 7, 6 or 8 years old, even sometimes even younger, at the age of 4 or 5, they can really challenge you. So you need to be quick, smart, and also I will say the way how you prepare your occupational therapy sessions will depend as well of that, no? So sometimes it happened to me that we would have kids who are, and especially girls, with ADHD and autism not diagnosed. So the parents don't know there is something, maybe the school is calling the attention, maybe the parents are noticing that there is something going on, but there is no real diagnosis about it. And you can see that this kid of, like I'm talking about, between 4, 5 to 8 years old, it's extremely intelligent, the way of talking, but the lack of understanding social rules, or maybe lack of having friends or expressing the wishes to play with friends or maybe it's making a little bit more complicated. So you can see that this is when the parents or the educators can say, okay, there is something else going on here, right? But yes, she's apparently high IQ, so the way how she's expressing herself, it's already like mind-blowing. So but this is very, very, very typical to hear from parents as well.
Always.
How old are you?
8.
Do you feel like other 8-year-olds?
Kind of. But I was super intelligent and I blew through first grade. So we skipped like a quarter of second grade. So then I went to third grade and now I'm in fourth at 8 years old.
Amazing. This is what I was talking about, so I can imagine the intelligence of this girl and the way how she is, even targeting, like I was super intelligent in the first grade. That's cute. Very cute.
Yeah, she's tested out, they call it profoundly gifted. She's in the Davidson Young Scholars community. She's Mensa. It's just, high IQ. And then But I've known that since she was little, and then we just found out about the autism.
The tallest volcano is actually not here on Earth.
Okay.
It's on Mars.
This is the part that I like, and I really enjoy myself working with kids who are high functional. And well, there is another definition for high IQ. It's Asperger, okay, even though lately in the last years you don't talk anymore about Asperger, no. We have social and communication disorder, but it's still, you will hear it very often used between therapists, or even if you want to Google it or whatever, it's part of autism. And this is like the type of autism that it's high functional. So they come up with all this, knowledge, and you're like, okay, so let's learn about Mars and let's learn about planets. And they have this very nice interest, and I will say like different type of topics from early age. We are obviously, this is a video that I found of a 8-year-old girl, but we work with kids even from 2-3 years old, and you can see the way how they will be knowing the alphabet. They will be able to read by the age of 3. They will know not just the alphabet, like different shapes, 3D shapes, and numbers, letters. I mean, they will be doing like puzzles that are above their age. So yes, academically you can see that, okay, the parents are not worried because you know that the kid will succeed academically. The other issue could be that sometimes we will have to work on social rules, and we will have to work maybe on communication, and maybe we will work on some waiting, some boundaries, and other skills. I'm talking obviously always as from the occupational therapy point of view, right?
Yes. Do you know about it?
No, what is it called?
Well, I'll tell you, it's super big, bigger than Mount Everest.
I've never felt the urge to baby talk to her because she's just always felt so mature and old soulish. So I've always just talked to her and explained things to her and taught her things, and it's crazy. Sometimes it's really uncanny how mature she is for a young human.
Tell me about some of your hobbies.
Hablar español
Vamos a hablar español.
y jugar con mi perrita.
You speak Spanish and
Play with my dog. Y mi perra es muy inteligente. Ella conoce mucho palabras.
Okay, so here it's ella conoce muchas palabras.
You ever hear me start speaking Spanish? If you need to, just look up what in the world I'm saying, but I might be able to translate for you.
do you just randomly speak Spanish sometimes?
Sí.
Okay.
What?
Yes.
That was impressive.
Also, it's very typical. I love her smile, I love the way how she's reacting socially, and how she's actually collaborating with the person who is carrying this program, this video. It's very typical for children with autism with high Q, or like I said, in general with high Q, to have this preference for certain topics, and one of them is languages. Are languages, and you have a lot. I remember one of my first client that when I started the career as occupational therapist, he was talking. Just give me 1 second. He was talking about 8 or 9 languages by the age of 9 years old, so very, very close to her. And that was like, I was very impressed because obviously, it's not something that you're expecting that will happen. At least not one of your first clients, no? And he was fluently, I speak 4 languages, but, he was able fluently to switch with me and continue. And even I learned some Italian from him because he was really fluent in Italian. So that was crazy. And this is the part that I really enjoy in my job, working with high Q kids and children with autism, because you feel that naive part from them, that sincere part, which is very cute. But at the same time, it's a little bit dangerous, and this is when the occupational therapist needs to, work on boundaries, work on social rules, work on emotions, regulation of emotions, and provide the kid enough strategies, I will say, and tools to make sure that in the future they feel safe, because not everybody it's nice around us, unfortunately. Not everybody is understandable, and I feel like now we are in the momentum where we are building up more and more awareness about autism, especially in girls, and I'm very happy about it. Let's continue.
Me llamo Chris.
It's not llamo, it's llamo. Me llamo Chris.
Me.
I like the way how she's correcting. She listened, and she's like, it's not llamo Chris, it's llamo.
Me llamo Chris.
No, Chris.
Correct.
Well,
Can you roll your R's?
I have never tried.
Well, my mommy can't roll her R's at all, and when she tries to, when she tries to say perro, she sounds like a car engine starting up.
Tell me all about your mom.
So, she's a very nice mom, I must say. And I love her very much. So does she love me. And we do fun things together. We watch movies, all of us as a family. But me and Mommy, we can do all kinds of fun stuff together. We hang out, we dance, we...
Do lots of projects.
Yeah, we do projects and kits together.
And you're also diagnosed with a physical disability.
I see.
Yes, arthrogryposis multiplex congenita.
What does that mean?
Well, it means I'm affected in all 4 limbs. Let me tell you something real quick. If, just in case you don't want to say arthrogryposis multiplex congenita every time you say arthrogryposis multiplex congenita, which I can do say arthrogryposis multiplex congenita every time I want.
You see the speed of language, like I'm talking about. This is that the way of articulating. I cannot say it. I'm not going to even try it. That is the way how the brain is associating all the information, and she is capable to go to that level, to the way how she is expressing herself and articulating the vocabulary and everything. It's already just by saying the way how she is talking, the way how she is relating, how she is expressing herself, already says a lot. But this is the reason why at the beginning of the video, now I understand they were saying that she has physical disability, she has autism, and she has IQ. Okay.
But if you just don't want to say that every single time, you can say arthrogryposis, or for short, AMC. There's contractures in my
AMC,
wrists.
okay.
And so I can't necessarily, I can't straighten them out. And if you show him, if I can't straighten it out. She can just pull it all the way up as high as that. I can only do like this. And if you try to squeeze my wrist flat, it's just it doesn't.
Because she has a contracture here, which is a calcification on the bone. So arthrogryposis affects the joints and the muscles. And so the joints didn't develop properly in utero. They developed differently with these calcifications, which caused them to be rigid or stuck in a fixed position. And because the joints didn't develop movable the way most joints do, then the muscles didn't develop properly because they didn't have movement in order to build muscle mass. So her muscles are made of a more fibrous tissue that doesn't bulk up, but she can't just lift weights and get a muscle. Her arms and legs will always be very skinny.
Also because this is something that is happening very frequent in cerebral palsy. So I don't want to switch topics, obviously, but obviously this is the idea of reacting to this video. And as occupational therapists, we work with kids of different disabilities. Obviously, we don't work only with children with autism or ADHD or dyspraxia or, sensory issues. No, in general, we work also with children who suffer from motor difficulties, cognitive difficulties, visual impairment, etc., etc. And when I work with children with cerebral palsy, we do have encounter this limitation of tissue and muscle, how they were explaining. And I will say that yes, it's limiting many activities of the daily life that we are having on a daily basis. So from brushing the teeth, to maybe manipulating things around or playing or whatever. But the great thing, it's that we are having this autism waking up, let's say like that. So being high functional, I think it's also will be able to push her not to do way more things, than maybe without. I don't know, okay. It's interesting to know. It's true that, for example, when we have limitation in this area, often occupational therapists or maybe physiotherapy sometimes, but let's put all of us together in physical therapist, we will be able to stretch, and we say like, no, listen, but this, if you stretch it very much, it's going to be just the same like ours, and we will have this mobility. But like they were saying, unfortunately, because of this area didn't develop properly, all the muscle didn't develop, and our nerve system doesn't have that connection in order for you to sign proper messages, for you to move and make it flexible, your fingers and your wrists and your arm in general. So yes, it's something unfortunately that happens as well.
Because of the lack of muscle.
And so when I was born, my knees were stuck bent. Now that I got a surgery, I can kick them in the air like that. Hey, I can show you something really interesting that I can do when I stand up.
Yeah.
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 Look, if I stand right here, look what I can do. I'm very flexible.
Nice.
Super.
Moves.
Yeah, I can do like anything I want with my legs.
How old were you when you had that surgery?
I was 3. What would you think if there was such thing as invisible light?
What would invisible light be? I don't even know what that means.
Invisible light is just just like these lights, but they're invisible, so you can't see them, and you don't have to plug them in.
Did you make that up?
Yes.
Tell me about some other things that you made up in your mind.
Other things I made up. I make up a lot of things, so they would take me about 6 years to tell all of them to you.
Okay.
So.
How precise? 6 years, not 4, not 5, 6.
Let's right now, both of us collaborate on an invention. If you had to make something that would help the world, what would you make?
Help the world? Okay. What about it helps another purple planet? Hypothea. It's a magical world, but everybody there turns into scientists.
So you want to make something that helps Hypothea, the magical purple world where everybody turns into scientists?
Yeah, when they get there, they have to get a passport. And it's Hypothea. Like
Hypothea.
hypothesis, kind of.
Did you make this planet up?
Yes.
Tell me all about Anna's imagination.
I just was about to tell you, creativity, imagination, it's a top thing, So sometimes something that is challenging for us in occupational therapy, so at least for me, it's to be at that level as well. You have to understand that when you are carrying an occupational therapy session with a child of 3 years old and you are just, like working on some gross motor skills and some fine motor skills, when you have a kid like her, obviously we are not anymore on that standards. No, we're not that basic. Our therapy session needs to be creative, and definitely the way how we are explaining the things and how we present the strategies and the way how we are working, it has to be justified at the level of the kid, because otherwise they will first of all get bored, and second of all, you don't want, as an occupational therapist, that the child will take control of the session, right? So let me see if I can really explain myself. As an occupational therapist, obviously you want to have the kid participating with you and collaborating with you during your therapy sessions, but at the same time you still are the therapist. So you know what is the purpose of your therapy session, what are the objectives or the main goals that you are looking for. But when you are having a high IQ kid, you have to understand that it's very easy for them to just, overstep. And you were thinking that you are the one carrying the session, but it's not anymore, because the kid brings you always. If you notice, for example, in this talk, it's more of an interview, obviously, but she's always jumping in the areas that she likes. So she will be always developing topics that she is good at, that she is comfortable with, because her brain obviously, goes to this huge imagination and creativity process. But she wants to share things that are about her favorite topics, which is fine. But in occupational therapy, we need to work on things that are going to make her maybe in the future struggle. And I am saying maybe because not every child passed through the same process, but in my experience, I worked more with boys than girls. I had few girls, but with the boys that I'm working currently, we are still at the age of 9, at the age of 12, and sometimes even we are having 15, 16 years old boys that are still struggling with the basic social rules. So we have to make sure that our job is done properly from the early age. So like this, parents don't have to go for occupational therapy at the age of 15, 16. Maybe they will need to go, but they will be able to cover other areas, perhaps not social rules, maybe other topics that are still needed to develop. Because in any case, we are maturing, we are always growing up, and there are other skills or interests that are taking place, no? So yes, this is very important. But imagination and creativity, it's mind-blowing in these kids. Yep, very interesting.
It has no limits and no end, and she can go on all day.
So it's actually it's Anacreate is what it is, kind of like Procreate. It's an app on an iPad. It has 3 pink moons along with another moon that's not necessarily its moon, just another planet that's behind it. Mm-hmm. We think it could be there, but we're not sure. We're not sure if it has rings or not, but I think so. And it's like it has pinkish purple rings, and it's a blue Saturn.
I love this planet, Hypatia.
Mm-hmm.
Hypothesis.
It's purple.
And it's purple.
Except for the inside it looks just like here on Earth, but it's just busy streets with golf goes is what they're called, and that's just like the mobiles. Only one scientist can have them, but there's multiple seats so they can strap in like all their experiments and stuff they need to take with them.
If you could have one magical power, anything in the world, you could invent it, what would you choose?
The power of vocabulary.
What do you mean?
I mean, I don't want to hasten to do all this stuff.
Huh? That's a big word. What were some of the first signs of autism that made you go and get her tested?
Well, really, it was when we started watching her interactions with her friends in person, specifically her friend Ella, who's come over and spent a lot of time, and we've been able to kind of watch the two of them together. And just seeing the way that she doesn't pick up on certain things and gets like that tunnel vision.
So Hypatia is the purple.
This is what I wanted to tell you, that, for example, when he had the question of if you have to choose one superpower, what it would be. It's funny that she's choosing vocabulary when actually her vocabulary is like pretty spectacular, no? Perfect, I will say. But in one way I understand, because this is something that maybe she feels that she's good at. So she is like, okay, will be my superpower forever, no? But it happens a lot. I have a lot of games during my occupational therapy, sessions. With children who are high functional, and we need to stabilize some boundaries, like I said before, and some strategies, and we work on true-false games, maybe, for example, or just open questions, like what you would like to be in the future, for which reason we have the pencil, exists the pencil, or what do we carry in our backpack to school, or what is your favorite food from these 3 vegetables, or one of them, and sometimes it's also very frequent, it's which superpower you will choose if you would have the opportunity. And unfortunately, when I ask that question, it happens to me many times that the kid will be just blocked. Here I like it because the interview is quite straightforward. He's not giving options. Obviously, it's not therapy, it's just an interview. So it's very interesting to see, like, there is just the question and he's waiting for her to answer. In therapy, I would have to give the question, if I see that after a few minutes the kid is like not struggling, but it's not answering, I will say like, maybe be able to fly or be invisible or super strong. And so you have to, and then it's like, okay, the brain then is like, okay, this is what she's asking me. And then most of the time they will choose from the 2-3 that you mentioned. So it's not going to be something else, so that is what the mother said, that when she compared her playing with Ella, I believe she said, or her friends, she could feel like, okay, there is a little bit of limit in the social aspect, the way how maybe for other kids it's like, okay, different topics, switch topics is not an issue. There is like a process of thinking. Here she has that process of thinking, but again, you see, she comes back to hypothia, and this is the topic that she wants to talk about and she is interested about, etc. How many kids at the age of 8 will be able to talk with her about this area, and how many kids will want to talk just about this? You see my point? During occupational therapy, we try to always have these role play games, and where we, do basic things like going for a shopping. Sometimes we go literally to the shop. That's another obviously training skill that we are doing. Or we go to a cafeteria, or we will go to, a shop to buy whatever, if I need anything for the clinic or whatever, no? So we practice some social rules, but it's frequent to say like, okay, I like this topic, but for how long can I talk about this topic and just this topic, no? So yeah, I know what the mother means.
Planet with all of the pink moons. The pink moons haven't been discovered, and nobody has. They have been discovered, but nobody has landed on them yet.
Is it safe to land on the pink moons?
Yes. Well, I'm not sure about that. But I think so, yes.
My question about hypoxia is, what is the atmosphere like? Can you breathe there? Do you need some kind of suit or some kind
It's just, well, so there is a special suit. It's called the super suit, and it allows you to fly and have all kinds of magical powers.
Wow.
Just because she can vocalize things maybe better than some other children doesn't mean she doesn't struggle with the same transition issues, or not picking up on social cues as well, getting very caught up in, fixated on certain interests like unicorns. But those are also the things that make her her. Those are also the things that make her unique.
What I want to know about hypoxia is, does everybody practice the same type of science, or are there many types of scientists there?
There are many types of scientists there.
Which type of scientist is the most respected on hypoxia?
Probably, I'd say me.
What do you practice?
I practice everything. I practice everything, and I'm actually pretty much the leader of hypoxia.
Wow.
Because I am the astrophysicist who discovered hypoxia.
What did you think when your mom told you that you have autism?
Nothing, because it's just like, okay.
Were you happy she told you?
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily care, but...
Do you feel like it makes sense
Yeah.
now that you know?
Mm-hmm.
For some things.
Why does it make sense?
Because it's just like I'm always hyper-focused on one thing I want to talk about, but then I can't really switch it.
Hypoxia sounds like...
This is what we were talking about, no? The focus on the topic, it's so intense, and that's great. But when you are in society, and when you are surrounded by kids or whatever, like I said, how many kids of her age will want to talk about unicorns for 2 hours or 3 hours? Or every time that I meet, for example, Anna, I will be talking about unicorns. At some point, I say, if I meet Anna, maybe she will just talk about unicorns. So that's the issue. Not an issue, like the mom said. That's what makes her unique. and sort of special at the same time, no? And that's great because, like I said, the good thing of having a high IQ helps you to boost so many other aspects that maybe thanks to those interests you might find friends or maybe other groups and maybe other community that will be also sharing that those interests, you know. So that's great. That's fantastic. But in occupational therapy, we do tend to say, okay, this is what the child is having, no? This is the age of the kid. Those are the interests and it's fine. But now let's work on other things that might increase the possibility of you having friends, of going to other events, other places that can also make sure that you feel comfortable with yourself and the environment, no? The most important is that, obviously. So that's very nice when the mom said, like, does it make sense for you, no? The fact that the parents told her that she has autism, and I think it does make sense because when you are in a such level, you know, of IQ, you wonder at some point, if it's not at 8 years old, it will happen at the age of 15, 16, 20, when you will, you know, have experience in different areas, especially in the social areas. You will say, like, okay, why I'm not the same like others? I can feel that there is something different. And believe me, when I'm saying that, I'm not criticizing, obviously, nobody. I do believe that it's a great gift and it's an extraordinary gift to have kids, you know, who are so intelligent. And just like I'm happy that there are now support, I'm not sure if she's going for occupational therapy or not. That will be interesting to know, just to help with some, you know, strategies. That would be amazing. But that's what I say always to the parents. Like, you have to continue working on the topics. We have kids, like I said, academically, they don't need us. They don't need any support from academical point of view. You know, they are most of the time in advance than the others. But girls with ADHD and girls with autism, I think when, especially the grown-ups who are, for example, I meet more often adults with ADHD and autism who didn't have the diagnosis at the age of 8 or, you know, 10, etc. And they say, like, okay, now makes sense. Now makes sense that the fact that they have the diagnosis, it doesn't really change your lifestyle, or it doesn't really bring you maybe like that change that you say, okay, now I'm going to change myself, the perspective of living or life or whatever. But it can help you maybe to read about it, educate yourself, maybe get some help in case if you need it, or even for yourself to know, like, okay, now it makes sense why I had this and this and this situation at school or at the university or with my parents or, you know, etc. So, yes.
Like a paradise. Is there ever any conflict there?
Yes.
What kind of conflict?
So there is bad guys on there.
Oh no.
The whole tribe is called the Nobbledygooks.
What are they called?
Nobbledygooks.
Nobbledygooks?
Mm-hmm, Nobbledygooks.
And they're the bad people?
Yeah, they're the bad guys. And so there's two sections. The king or queen of the Nobbledygooks.
Oh, I hate them.
He's called the Nogster.
Okay.
The Nogster. They take that as both their real name and their title. The Nogster. And then there's the Nogglers. The Nogglers are like the kind of like the worker bees there. They're so all the Nobbledygooks, the big one is just giant fat kind of guy, and he's green and he's scaly and he has one power.
It's funny because a lot of people look at her and they'll insist that she is not autistic. And I think the reason is that most of their exposure has been to children with autism spectrum disorder levels 2 or 3. They're used to seeing, you know, maybe some of the ways that children find it difficult to express themselves when they have autism, or the ways that they need to express themselves because they're nonverbal, or they're struggling with overstimulation and things of that nature. And
I just want to stop a little bit here because it's true, it happens a lot to parents as well, that they feel a little bit, sometimes like you have the diagnosis, you know that you have a child with autism, but you will have other people saying, no, but your kid doesn't look like. My honest advice to all these people who, I will say that if a mom or a father is telling you that I have a child with autism, because I'm pretty sure that they pass through a diagnosis, psychologist and therapist and stuff, a huge process, and sometimes it's not an easy process. I don't think it's a right way, to question that thing, I don't think any parent, let me put it that way, I don't think that any parent will say, my child has autism just for the sake of, let me see it, let me be cool, let me see what you think about it. No, I think if the parent, the mom or the father is trying to share that topic with you, is because definitely they have the diagnosis, independently that you think it's true or not, that you can be surprised it's true. Now, she mentioned the level 2 or 3, just for you to know, in autism you have 3 levels. You have the level 1, 2, and 3, and it goes from mild, moderate, and severe. And then you have the high functional autism, which for me, it cannot be, not always is considered in the first level, because like I said, for me, I still am the old school with Asperger, syndrome, so that part of autism, where it's like you have those social skills difficulties, you have maybe some communication difficulties at the same time, but then you have high functionality. So especially in girls, masking, it's a very powerful tool, but it happens a lot. That the fact that you have a lot of even therapists. I heard, it was just this week, I believe, yes, on a few days ago, mom told me that, I was with a therapist in the park, and she was like, but, I'm not sure, I'm still not sure that your kid has autism. And if he has autism, because here we're talking about a kid of 2 years old with diagnosed with autism, a boy, if he has, it has to be mild. And I think comments like that, professionally, I never do that. Professionally and personally, I advise not to do that. Because the child received the diagnosis, that the fact that you wonder that it's a possibility or not at the age of 2, it could be, but to say like, listen, I don't think so. Not every child is the same. Autism spectrum disorder, it's a spectrum, so every child is completely different. Depends on the levels, the child will be also different. You can have 2 kids on the level 3 and they are going to be different, with different sensory needs, with different communication, maybe non-verbal, maybe verbal but limited, maybe verbal but with a device, completely different. So you cannot really know. But yes, for sure, even me, I will be extremely surprised to know that there is a kid of 8 years old, extremely clever, and you can see that she can perfectly maintain a conversation with an adult like nothing. But I think after 5-10 minutes, maybe because obviously I'm a therapist, so that's my area. In my area, it's in pediatrics. You will realize that there is something that it's like, okay, maybe we can have a look on it, or whatever. But I will never put doubts if a parent comes to me, unless if after a couple of therapy sessions, I feel like, okay, there is something that we can have a look. For example, I had a girl with autism, with ADHD. Sorry, she didn't have diagnosis. She was 2 years old, 1 year and 8 months. And the way of communication, she had a lot of behavior issues, a lot of sensory issues, etc. And the parents were like, we don't have a diagnosis. And I was like, okay, I would suggest to do a couple of sessions while you're getting the diagnosis, and we'll see. At the beginning, I was sure that we are talking about only autism, and I didn't check the ADHD possibility. But after 1 year of therapy, when she the diagnosis took a little bit longer, unfortunately, or fortunately, because sometimes you do have situation misdiagnosed. You have professionals who will just write, autism level 2, and then after, for example, 3-4 years, it's not autism, it's ADHD or sensory processing disorder, or maybe other type of difficulty, and nothing to do with autism. I was 100% sure that we are talking about ADHD girl and not autistic, or I would say, if we have autism over there, it's a very mild and maybe in some aspects, but if someone would ask me, I would go 100% on ADHD. Because you can, once you start working with the kids, you are like, okay, there are certain things that doesn't fit with autism, and they are not fitting with autism, but they're fitting really with ADHD. But with girls, it's extremely important, and important to diagnose them with a little bit of time, but at the same time it's difficult, because like we were saying before, and she was saying about this masking and this pretending, and this way of adapting to the society. So neither the parents or the educators or anyone who is surrounding can check that actually there is something a little bit off, and in the development of my kid.
And so they look at Anna and they say kind of crazy things like, she's too smart to be autistic, or
She doesn't look autistic.
She reads too well, or she talks too well. And I'm like, just because a child can't communicate verbally doesn't mean they're not intelligent, highly intelligent, in fact. So I think people just need to understand that, there's a saying in the community: if you know someone with autism, if you know one person with autism, you know one person with autism. And it's funny because there's a similar saying in the arthrogryposis community, because you could line up 10 children with arthrogryposis who have the same type of arthrogryposis, and they'll all be affected differently.
Tell me about your dad.
So my daddy is very funny, and he always makes me laugh with everything we do.
How would you describe Anna?
Oh, she's amazing. If she wants, she could be a pretty good game designer when she gets older, because she's always coming up with different games, and she loves rules. She likes making up rules, and I think she will, if she wants to, she could probably be a pretty good game designer.
Well, actually, the Hypothians really started the conflict. Hypothians are the people who are on Hypothia.
But I thought they were good, but they started the conflict?
Yeah, they started the conflict because...
This is such a tangled web.
Yeah. So what happened was, there was once just one gobbledygook, just one. It didn't have the title as a nogster or a nogler.
Was he just minding his own business?
She.
Was she just minding her own
The way of correction, she.
business?
Yeah, she was just doing her thing when she discovered a little cave that led to the surface world.
Has Anna ever taught you about hypothia?
All the time.
I believe so.
All the time. I think that's one of the things with, perhaps it might have to do with her autism, where there's certain subjects that she just really focuses in on,
Like
and that,
unicorns and rainbows
right,
and
and
magic
then-
and weird purple stuff.
right, and then it's just she always circles back around to those topics that she.
Okay, maybe I'll talk about a weird giraffe that you learned about or something. Okay, back to Hypothia, talking about unicorns' passports. And they have unicorns. Unicorns are a special kind of thing.
What are the unicorns' purpose there?
They're kind of rare, and there's streams and things where mermaids live. And
Do you think a mermaid could ride a unicorn?
yeah, of course.
Do you ever feel overstimulated?
Not really, no.
Okay.
Sometimes I do get a little bit frustrated with something that Daddy or that I'm doing. That's kind of, it's like, no, I want this to go here, but I can't put it here because then this is in the way, and then nothing will be right. So, but that's not necessarily being overstimulated. It's just I'm a little frustrated if I can't do it.
What about hand dryers,
That I don't like.
loud toilets,
It's just because I don't like loud.
seams on your socks,
Well, seams on my socks is different than loud.
tags in your shirt?
Yeah, that just annoys me. It's just like, no. I want it to be peaceful and I want it to be nice. Why in the world are you sticking a tag in my back?
She teaches me different things.
I like the mother's point. It's like, okay, no, I don't feel like overstimulated. I don't have like any sensory difficulty, and then it's like she's like pointing out, but the reason why she's pointing out, because she knows very well her daughter, obviously, and because it's very typical in children with autism, even ADHD, to have sensory issues. So it's not something that it's like, okay, oh my goodness, you have sensory issues. No. Or being picky eaters, or, having, for example, too loud noises. So they overreact to it, no? So that's very, very typical.
Things all the time that I've just never even thought about. She makes me think about the things that I do.
If you could change one thing in the world, what would you change?
Change one thing?
Anything in the world.
The environment.
What would you change?
I would just change environmental pollution, because everybody's just throwing garbage cans out into the sea. It's just everything, just dump them in there. Sea turtles just die, and then there's less wildlife, and plants don't grow enough because there's too much pollution.
What would you like to say to the adults who are doing that?
I would say, stop it!
Here, I'm going to zoom in for more effect.
No.
I'll zoom out.
I want you adults that are doing that, kids, everyone, you stop that now. I'll fill out a form if I need to. I'll fill out a form to the government saying, you stop that.
For sure she will do it. I believe 100% on her.
If I have to.
That's pretty serious stuff if you're willing to fill out a form.
Well, it's just, I don't like pollution. That is not me. So everybody needs to assign themselves a supersuit. So I want you to do something with me.
What are we going to do?
I want to draw a picture with you. I want to draw a picture of your supersuit.
I would love that.
That's a supersuit. And then there's boots and socks that go with it too. But so you can draw your symbol. So like right here, I'll draw the circle for it. If you can't do like this tiny lettering, just write little squiggles. You can draw your little symbol.
I'll do an SBSK. If you could travel to any time in the past, where would you go and what would you do?
Past.
Or would you prefer the future?
I prefer the future because then I could make flying cars and invent all kinds of weird magical stuff. And I could become an astrophysicist and study more planets and figure out if there is more planets and look at more galaxies and...
Exactly, and the reason why past, it's also one of the topics that it's interesting for us occupational therapists to analyze, but for kids too difficult to answer, because what do we define by past, no? It's the past, it's our experiences in the past, no? What happened is the history behind that we were taught at school, or maybe mama papa taught about it, no? Taught us. And with children with high functionality, let's say in autism in general, when you pick up a topic like that, it's a little bit complicated because their imagination and creativity, it's powerful, but like she said, for the future, because then I can add so many different things. Now with the technology and stuff, we can now explore totally different topics. But in the past, it's like, okay, I have to think. And here he doesn't provide options. So obviously her brain is like, whoops. Pause mode, I have to think what I need to answer, no?
Your passport will have a unicorn on it because that's what's that's the front of the passport.
When actually, if you see, whenever he is asking a question about hypothea and or any other topic, no, about the unicorns and mermaids and whatever she is saying about this hypothea subject, she's totally fine. She doesn't have even a second to think about it because the not the knowledge, I will say, no, but the vocabulary is flowing. There is not even a thing.
Passport, all of them.
Okay. So do all the passports for hypothea have a unicorn on them?
Yes, all of them. Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's the fun.
Okay.
What are some of the most fascinating creatures on planet Earth?
Too many. I can't name them all.
Just name three.
Okay, three. I'd say definitely a mola. I'd say the box-head jellyfish, and I'd say giant squid.
For example, I don't even know. I don't know any of them. I think it's like I will have to research. I mean, maybe I know, but by the name or the picture, it doesn't come straight away in my head.
Because it's just so with a really weird giant fish.
What
Okay.
do you want the world to know about you?
A few things. Well, one of them is not necessarily about me, but everybody is different, and I want all of them that are out here and watching to respect everybody else with their differences.
Do you ever feel different?
Sometimes I do feel different because I have arthrogryposis, and so it's just I can't do some things that you might be able to do. I can't lift my hands over my head, and I can't really reach up high.
People would make assumptions that because she is disabled that I should be helping her more. They yell at me
the
for
rule is I have to try 3 times before I can get help.
yeah.
Oh, I like that rule. Really cool. Really, really cool. So she has to try at least 3 times before to give up, kind of, no?
We've always done that. You have to try at least 3 times. And then if you need help, I'll help you.
Do you like that rule?
I love it.
Why?
It's an amazing rule.
Why is it a good thing?
Because I think everybody should at least try before they get help. Because if you just help someone the first time they ask, they're never going to learn to do it on their own.
Who is this?
I like it. And you see this, for example, one of the topics that I develop a lot in occupational therapy, I will say, like, as a therapist, I help not that much during our therapy sessions because I want to see the potential of the kid. If, like she's saying, if I'm an occupational therapist and I come and say, okay, for example, the routine, let me put you in the situation. The kid comes in inside of the session, there is the chair, the parents, there is the chair for the parents. If the parents decide to stay in the session, sometimes they stay in the session, sometimes they stay in the waiting area. And the kid, the first thing that has to do, and we practice, it's the removing of the shoes, the jacket or not jacket or whatever we have. The reason why I want to work on the activities of daily life, definitely it's very important. But at the same time, I want that the kid takes the responsibility of I'm coming to a place where I will work. I also have fun, yes, of course we do have fun, but at the end of the end, there is a purpose to go for occupational therapy, and I try to bring this idea, where you are coming in the session from the moment that I open the door, even the moment when they go upstairs to the clinic. I want to see that the kid is coming in the clinic alone, if there is a possibility, maybe knock the door, remove the shoes, like I'm saying, place the things on the chair, etc. Because it brings already that knowledge of responsibility about his or her own things, and we are practicing independent skills. So why I don't like to waste time, So if I do for the kid, it's because the child doesn't know how to, or we are in the process of practicing. That's another thing. But if the kid can do it, it's not a problem that we take extra 2-3 minutes for removing, taking off the shoes or the socks or whatever the situation. It's the fact that he or she is doing it on her own or in his own. Life right now, it's very busy, and the parents, I know that we tend to rush and everything is like in the go, etc. But when we are working on ADLs and we want to go for occupational therapy to work on fine motor skills and want the child to button the shirt, and we want the child to know the laces and all of these things, it's not going to come like this, okay? We don't have a magical power to say, we are going to do this strategy in fine motor skills and your kid will be able to do the lacing and do the buttons, etc. This is something that we have to practice on the daily basis, at home, at school, in therapy, etc. So I love this rule. I really like it. Really nice. And I definitely say, like, if you are not giving the opportunity to your kid to try it or to your client, how do we know what is the limitation of the knowledge? Is the child doesn't know how to put on the shoes, or for example, I don't know, open the toothpaste, or I don't know, open a bottle of water, because every time that you're giving to open him the bottle of water, you wait 10 seconds and then you just do it for himself because he doesn't know how to, or because actually when you see him opening the bottle of water, you see him physically struggling. So that's completely different thing, no? And even if we are physically struggling, we can say, let me help you halfway through. And slowly we build up the muscle tone, and we build up those skills that the kid and the brain and the body will adapt to make it happen in the future by himself or herself. Okay, so that's like my little advice.
This is my service dog, Gemelli, and she is a very good dog, as you can see right now. She is very polite.
How cute.
And she has her vest on. I wanted to just say that Gemelli is a very cute dog. So when you see her, don't be amazed and shocked. Because she is super fluffy, she's cute, she's lovable. Atta girl, tug. Yay! And then I hold it up, but I just kind of use my hand to guide it so it doesn't fly open and everything.
So she can help you open the fridge and doors?
Yeah, and now, Gemelli, close it. Close it, atta girl, close it. Yay! She can close the doors too. Go girl!
Super.
What's your favorite thing to do with your dad?
Play with my imagination.
How do you two do that?
We just make up weird games. I'm like, what's 20,000 plus 40 human heart equals palm tree?
Oh,
Something like that.
That's banana.
Exactly, he knows.
But what about, do you know what telephone divided by lab?
Yeah, pink ladybug.
No.
But no?
Pink ladybug is not the answer.
What is the answer?
Dragon.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
His calculations were a bit off.
I haven't studied for a while.
Okay, what about lamp minus picture frame?
Let me get my calculator. Oh, 50-foot long giraffe.
Good job. Try to use the calculator in your head.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
What is Spanish minus French?
Quadruple stuffed Oreo.
What?
Wow.
No.
What is it?
Television.
Oh,
course.
duh. Oh my gosh. I'm forgetting the basics. When somebody finishes this interview, what do you hope they remember most from it?
Probably what I said, that we're all different, and you should respect that.
If you could push a button and make everybody the same, would you do it?
No.
Why not?
Because I love everybody to be different. I want to be different. And I think everybody should be different. I think everybody should be happy just the way they are. I don't think they should have the best thing about themselves. I don't think they should be like, I don't like myself.
What advice would you give to somebody who's sitting there thinking, I don't like myself?
I'd probably say, think positive affirmations.
What does that mean?
Just like, I am strong, I am kind, I can do this,
Yes.
I will be great, or just all kinds of positive, good affirmations like that.
That's very cute. It's very,
Are
very
you two
cute.
ready for...
Sorry. Let me... Let me stop here. Yes, so like I was saying before, well, that was fantastic. I love the way how we closed, actually, the way how we finished this topic, you know, how she was explaining herself about actually the way how she, I really like this. I'm just going to share with you again the special books by special kids. I like the way how she's finishing the her video, you know. Definitely to change completely. No, we all are different, and that's fantastic. We all live in this world, and I think it would be completely different if we all will be the same. And I think it's impossible, kind of. You know, so I will say that definitely I suggest that whenever you talk with a family with a child with autism, or not autism, let's put it in that way, with a child with, you know, special need or any disability, I will say, like, just be careful the words that you use. the way how you talk, and like what I was talking before, no, about the questioning, like, are you sure your child has autism? She doesn't look like autistic. What that mean, you know? Who looks like autistic, you know? It's on a spectrum. And yes, I think the world, it's magical how it is, by being all of us different, with all our special needs, with all our interests. And this is the reason why when we meet up in groups and with other people, we can maintain different conversations. We have different hobbies. And that's, I think it's great. And I really like the way how she's describing herself, you know, the way how she's talking about it, the way how she's expressing herself. That's fantastic. So, okay, guys, I hope you like this video. If you have questions, I really wish to and I really like to read you. You know that you can contact me on social media if you have any questions or whatever, and you would like me to target maybe another video in the next time. And I love this React. It's super nice and very, very interesting to see that you have young girls, and we have a lot of young girls like her, having her struggles, but at the same time pushing her, you know, limits, and making herself in this society, and working on things, you know, and staying positive. That's how it is. Okay, super. So, guys, this was Lisa. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and if you have questions, I would love to read you, and I will be seeing you in the next video. Have a wonderful day, night.